They called it a ghost tank, a machine with no official designation, no records, no battlefield photos. A tank so strange, even German spotters didn't believe it was real. But the day it appeared near the ruined village of Langenfeld, the Germans watched in shock as their most feared machine, the Panther, was annihilated in a single, impossible shot. This is the classified story of the American tank that should never have existed, and the crew who risked everything to turn the tide in one forgotten corner of Europe. Main story: the tank that wasn't supposed to exist. In late 1944, as the Allies pushed deeper into Western Germany, the U.S. Army knew one thing clearly. The Panther tank was a monster, fast, deadly, almost impossible to kill from the front. Sherman crews called it the Widowmaker Maker. So when the 3rd Armored Division received a strange wooden crate labeled only with "Experimental Vehicle, do not engage without authorization," everyone knew something unusual was happening. Inside that crate was the prototype of a tank designed in secret, a tank that combined the gun of an M36 Jackson, the engine of a Sherman, and armor plating arranged in strange, sloped angles no one had seen before. It wasn't even painted properly, just raw steel with chalk numbers on the turret. The crew assigned to it was even stranger. Lieutenant Jack Ironhand Mallory, a calm, precise commander. Corporal Vince Russo, a gunner with unbelievable accuracy. Private Sam Carter, a rookie loader fresh from training. Sergeant Bill Hawkins, a mechanic who could fix anything. Their orders? Take the prototype to Langenfeld. Test under combat conditions. Do not allow capture. No one told them what the Germans would think. Into the ruins of Langenfeld. Langenfeld wasn't a village anymore. It was a skeleton. Burnt-out houses. Broken church tower. Silence filled with distant artillery. Mallory's tank, still unnamed, rolled in slowly. Inside the tank, the crew whispered. Russo tapped the cannon. "Think this thing can kill a Panther?" Hawkins snorted. "If it doesn't, you better jump out fast." The rookie loader Sam swallowed hard. He had never seen real combat. But Mallory was watching something else. The streets were too empty, too quiet. He muttered, "They're here. Panthers hide before they hunt." And he was right. Because in the shadows of a collapsed farmhouse, a German Panther crew was waiting, freshly reloaded. Engine silent, turret aimed right down the street. The ambush. The German Panther fired first. A blast so loud it shook dust from the church ruins. The shell struck Mallory's tank front plate. But instead of tearing through, it bounced. Hawkins shouted, "Holy, the armor held!" Russo yelled, "Shoot back! I've got eyes on them!" The gun thundered. One shot. Direct hit! The Panther's side armor burst open in a storm of fire and steel. A single shot had destroyed Germany's best frontline tank. Mallory stared in disbelief. "Mark that down," he said quietly. "This tank isn't just experimental. It's dangerous." The Germans give it a name. The Germans monitoring the battle radio traffic were confused. Reports came in. Unknown Allied tank type spotted. Impossible armor angles. Gun appears oversized. Destroyed Panther at long range. One German officer muttered, "Ein Geistpanzer," a ghost tank. And suddenly, the name stuck. From that point, German infantry whispered, "Beware the American ghost tank." The counterattack. The next morning, the Germans launched a full assault. 3 Panthers, 2 Jagdpanzers, and a battalion of infantry. Mallory's crew was alone. Sam the loader was shaking. He whispered, "I didn't sign up for this." Mallory placed a hand on his shoulder. "You're not alone. We do this together." The battle was chaos. Machine gun fire clattered. Panzerfaust rockets zipped past. Panthers crept through streets like steel predators. But Mallory's tank fought like a beast. Russo's aim was flawless. Sam reloaded until his arms burned. Hawkins kept the engine alive. Mallory timed every move with surgical precision. One by one, the German tanks fell, until only one Panther remained. The best one. The commander, Oberleutnant Klaus Ritter, a decorated ace. He had never lost a tank duel. Until today, the duel everyone remembers. The final Panther and Mallory's prototype tank faced each other across the broken town square. Both tanks were battle-scarred. Both crews exhausted. Ritter fired first. Miss Mallory fired, blocked by rubble. Ritter repositioned, his Panther moving smoothly like a predator. Russo whispered, "He's good. Real good." Mallory clicked the radio. "Hold steady. Wait for my command." The Panther lined up the kill shot. Mallory didn't move. 3 seconds. 2. 1. Mallory shouted. Fire! Russo pulled the trigger. The shell flew straight into the Panther's turret ring, its weakest point. A blast. A fireball. A scream of tearing metal. Ritter's Panther exploded. The duel was over, and the ghost tank had won. Climax. The tank that changed the battlefield. After the fight, American forces finally arrived. They expected to find Langenfeld still under German control. Instead, a smoking battlefield. Destroyed Panthers, and one prototype tank covered in scorched armor. A general walked up, stunned. You did this? With that thing? Mallory smiled. Guess the experiment worked. The secret revealed. After the war, the tank was taken apart, studied, rebuilt into later U.S. tank designs. The Germans never figured out what it was. They never got a photo, never got a blueprint. To them, it remained only a rumor, a ghost. And even today, historians still debate, did the Americans really deploy a secret tank at Langenfeld? Mallory's crew never talked. They simply said, we were in the right tank, at the right time, and the Germans never saw it. Coming, the Germans refused to believe the reports. The morning after the battle, German HQ in Dusseldorf received frantic radio transmissions. Panthers destroyed, unknown American machine responsible. Armor immune to 75-meter shells. Colonel Weber slammed his fist on the table. Lies, Americans have no such tank. But then, a surviving German infantryman was brought in, trembling, soot-covered, ears still ringing from the blast. He whispered, it wasn't a Sherman. It wasn't a Jackson. It was something else, like a shadow, but made of steel. Weber looked at his officers. Find it. I want that ghost tank captured. Or destroyed. For the first time, the Germans were hunting the prototype. Nightfall in Langenfeld. That night, the American crew found shelter inside the ruins of a schoolhouse. Russo cleaned the cannon. Sam rubbed his bruised shoulders. Hawkins worked under the dim lantern glow, tightening a cracked fuel line. Mallory sat outside on a broken staircase looking at the silent town. Sam walked over. Sir, do you think they'll attack again? Mallory didn't answer right away. Then he said, the Germans don't like losing, especially not to a tank they don't understand. They're coming. Sam swallowed hard. The distant sky lit up with artillery flashes. They've already started, Mallory whispered. The fog attack. At dawn, thick fog rolled into Langenfeld. White, heavy, choking visibility. Perfect for a German infiltration. The prototype tank's engine rumbled as Mallory ordered. Everyone inside. Engine warm. Turret ready. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the street. A Panzerfaust team had crept up in the fog. Hawkins yelled, left side. They're close. Russo fired the coaxial machine gun, the muzzle flashes lighting the smoke like lightning. More shadows moved. Panzer Grenadiers! They're everywhere! Sam loaded shell after shell, hands blistering, breath shaking. Through the fog, a Jagd Panzer IV emerged, silent, deadly, low to the ground. Russo shouted, it's aiming at us. Mallory didn't panic. He calmly said, we shoot first. The prototype fired. The blast tore through the fog. A moment later, the Jagdpanzer exploded like a volcano. Even the German infantry paused. For a split second, everyone realized this tank wasn't normal. This tank was a monster, the last Panther Ace. But the Germans had one final weapon left. Panther Ace Captain Otto Reinhardt, a legend who had survived Kursk, Normandy, and the Ardennes. When he heard the reports, he simply muttered, I will kill this ghost. He rolled toward Langenfeld in his custom Panther, thicker armor, tuned engine, reinforced turret ring. Reinhardt didn't care about fog, rain, or ruins. He only cared about the duel. As he entered the outskirts of the town, he saw the burning hulls of 3 destroyed Panthers. He smirked. Finally, he said, a worthy enemy. The duel in the rubble. Reinhardt positioned his Panther behind the collapsed bakery. Turret aimed at the crossroads. Mallory's prototype turned the corner. Both tanks froze. Both crews stared. A silent battlefield standoff. Russo whispered, Sir, that's no ordinary Panther. Mallory nodded. I know. Reinhardt fired first. The shell hit the prototype's upper glacis and ricocheted into a stone wall. Sam yelled. It held again. Mallory answered. Not twice. Fire! Russo squeezed the trigger. The shot struck the Panther's turret, but Reinhardt's extra plating absorbed it. The German ace repositioned with brilliant precision. Russo gasped. "He's countering every move we make," Mallory muttered. "Then we stopped playing his game." He ordered Hawkins. "Full speed, charge the rubble." The prototype roared forward. Reinhardt's eyes widened. The American tank smashed through bricks and debris, closing the distance to point-blank range. Russo screamed. "We're too close!" Mallory snarled. "Fire anyway!" The cannon thundered. The shell tore through the Panther's side at less than 30 meters. Reinhardt's tank erupted in flames. The duel was over. The Ghost had slain the ace. The tank that was never seen again. When the smoke cleared, American reinforcements entered Langenfeld. Medics, infantry officers. They stared at the burned German tanks, 7 in total, and at the battered American prototype still standing like a survivor of hell. A colonel approached Mallory. "You've made history today, son." But orders arrived moments later. Prototype is to be immediately removed from battlefield. No photography, no documentation. Crew sworn to secrecy. That night, a recovery team covered the tank with tarps, loaded it onto a heavy hauler, and vanished into the darkness. Mallory, Russo, Sam, and Hawkins never saw it again. Some say it was dismantled. Some say it became the blueprint for future U.S. tanks. Some say it still exists inside a classified hangar. But the Germans? They remembered only one thing. A tank that didn't match any blueprint. A tank that took everything they had and survived. A tank they named the Ghost of Langenfeld. The investigation no one knows about. 2 days after the battle, a convoy of unmarked American trucks arrived at Langenfeld. Men in gray overcoats stepped out. No badges, no ranks, no unit patches. Mallory whispered to Russo, "These aren't army, they're something else." The men inspected the battlefield silently, measured impact angles, collected fragments from destroyed Panthers, studied the prototype tank like archaeologists studying a lost relic. One man finally spoke. "This vehicle never existed. This battle never happened, and you will not speak of it again," Russo muttered under his breath. "Now I'm sure this tank was hiding something. Whatever the prototype really was, whatever secret it carried, was buried tighter than the ruins around them." The crew that became ghosts too. The 4 crew members were moved to a different base, quiet, remote, away from any front line. Their records changed, their tank assignment removed, their promotion papers lost. One night Sam finally asked, "Sir, did we do something wrong?" Mallory looked at him. "No, we did something right." "Something so right, they can't let the world know." Russo smirked bitterly. "So we saved a town, destroyed Germany's best tanks, and we get silence?" Mallory calmly replied. "Heroes don't always get medals. Sometimes they get erased." For the first time, the prototype tank wasn't the only ghost. Its crew had become ghosts too. The German search continues. Even after the war ended, German officers who survived Langenfeld were obsessed with one question. What was that American tank? In 1947, an Allied interrogation officer interviewed a German major. "What exactly did this tank look like?" The major replied, "It looked like nothing. No shape we recognized. Not Sherman, not Pershing, not Jackson. A shape that did not belong to 1944. Another officer said, "It moved too fast. Turned too sharply. Absorbed shots no Sherman ever could." A third survivor added, "I only saw it for 2 seconds. 2 seconds was enough to fear it forever." Rumors spread that America had deployed a tank 10 years ahead of its time. Some believed it, most dismissed it. But the men who fought it, they known. What happened to the ghost tank? In the 1950s, the U.S. Army began modernizing. Pattons replaced Pershings. Cold War tanks evolved rapidly. And deep inside a locked warehouse in Aberdeen Proving Ground, engineers dismantled a strange, burnt, heavily sloped steel hull. No serial number, no markings, no paperwork. One engineer studying the armor wrote, "Whoever designed this was thinking 20 years ahead." Another whispered, "Feels like alien technology compared to Sherman steel." The project was stamped, classified, do not replicate. Origin unknown, and so the prototype disappeared. Some say it inspired the design of the M60. Others claim it was too advanced, too experimental, too unstable. But one thing is certain. The Germans never learned what it was. Historians still debate it. And the only proof of its existence is the ruined town of Langenfeld and the Panther tanks that died fighting it. The legend remains. The ghost tank that killed the Panther. Stories like this don't appear in textbooks. or museums, or documentaries, because some battles were never meant to be recorded. If you want more classified WW2 stories, hidden inside forgotten reports and sealed archives, subscribe, hit the bell, and join us for the next untold legend of World War II, because history is still full of ghosts.